Lighting manufacturer Nanlite is fresh off a string of releases that includes the Forza 720B, 300B, and now the 60C. The C in the name Nanlite Forza 60C stands for color, and the development of the C is exciting enough to warrant a full review of this nifty little 88-watt raw light. In the race for higher output fixtures, it's easy to miss the need for smaller, more compact and flexible lights that work in everything from product to background, to mobile Steadicam coverage or even as event coverage lights. Of course, for content creators in small spaces, the Forza 60C might also make for the perfect key light when you aren't fighting the sun. Hi, I'm Graham Ayler-Sheldon, and here's my review of the Nanlite Forza 60C. First, let's acknowledge we're in the middle of a fascinating technology race towards high-output fixtures that are color-capable. Currently, there's an inherent output trade-off between bicolor and daylight, and then between color and daylight fixtures. In most cases, when compared watt to watt, the daylight-only fixtures will simply provide a higher output. With bicolor and color lights, you'll see a 20% or even 30% drop in output as a trade-off for the added flexibility of bicolor or color. This decrease in output is no surprise. There's only a certain amount of space in a lamp head, and the mix required between different LED emitters to create a given color means that not all emitters can operate at 100%. Wonderfully saturated color is the result, but not the same output as emitters devoted to doing one thing and doing that one thing well, like outputting 5600K daylight, for example. Which brings me back to the Nanlite Forza 60C and a few questions. Why do we need a light like this? Who is it for? And how far can we push that little C in the Forza 60? Okay, so what were my first impressions of the 60C? The Forza 60C is a RGBLAC fixture, meaning beyond the common red, green, and blue LED emitters, Nanlite engineers have added lime, amber, and cyan chips into the lamp head to create a variety of colors. This is a similar mix of chips to the Prolict brand of lights, though it matters very much what each brand is doing on the software side to express those colors. Time will tell which mix technology will win the day in the market, but in my opinion, the Forza 60C mix of 6 color chips tends to make richer orange and brown colors. It does better with those in-between colors. For my work, I look at the Forza 60C as a replacement or partner to my use of LED data lights on set. Both are good choices for highlighting small details or as a hair light in a pinch. It's $699 for the base package. The Forza 60C is certainly cheaper than the Datalight D-LED 7 Turbo Bicolor. As a bicolor, not color fixture, this Datalight has a comparable wattage draw of 90 watts with a price tag of roughly $1,600 depending on sales. The Forza 60C ships with the following in the kit: 45-degree reflector, lamp head, small soft case, AC power cable, Bowens mount adapter, and battery grip, MPF. All right, so we're gonna do a little walk around here with the Nanlite Forza 60C. Comes in this little case right here. I mean, just a couple of pounds, really light. There's a USB right here where you can update the firmware. Here's the 45-degree reflector that comes standard with the 60C. So this mount right here, it's not Bowens, but there's thankfully a ton of different accessories that Nanlite makes. I haven't seen a lot of third-party options as of yet, but taking a look at the back right here, barrel power, DC 15 volts, and then DMX on the side. The DMX adapter that works for any of the Nanlite Forza 60 lights will work here as well. Unfortunately, the barrel power isn't locking. And the Bowens adapter itself, a little flimsy. This makes me nervous putting any large Bowens accessories on here. I personally wouldn't trust it, but for something light like, say, a softbox, I think it's probably fine. Let's see, power cable, of course. Let's start with this right here. This is the FL11 Fresnel, made primarily from plastic and glass. The barn doors are metal, maybe aluminum. You know, do you want a Fresnel that's all metal? I don't think you do. The plastic means the overall rig stays light, and this does the trick. This is interesting. This is very light, very plasticky on the back. Got to be a little careful with this one, but you can mount Sony batteries on one side. It powers the light. Of course, you can carry the light, maybe walk down a hallway with a Steadicam operator for some type of oneer. It also goes right into the light stand as well. So it doubles as just a straight up battery adapter for the 60C as well. Moving to the projector mount for the Nanlite 60 series as a whole, of course, it also works with the 60C. Now, if you're familiar at all with the larger projector attachment that Nanlite makes, this is whatever the opposite is in terms of size. I mean, very light, heavily reliant on plastic for the build, but I mean, it's tiny. I wouldn't feel too afraid to put this and the Forza 60C above Talent. Obviously, use safety chains, but it just isn't that heavy, and it doesn't make the overall footprint of the light too much larger. And there you go. And now you have a 19-degree beam with the Forza 60C in one compact package. This is a pretty darn good setup. I would like to see the Forza 60C available in a 3-light kit with some type of rolling hard case option. To me, it feels like a fixture that would require additional lights to reach its full potential. Given the relatively reasonable price point, I also think buying several might be an acceptable option as a plane-friendly travel kit. The exterior body of the Forza 60C has a carbon fiber style to it and doesn't feel like it can take too many hits or withstand difficult weather, but given the output capabilities of this fixture, it also doesn't feel like a light you'll leave outside in the snow too much. The Forza 60C would feel most at home, in my opinion, during interiors or during night exteriors in favorable weather. So now let's talk about controlling the light. The rear menu is not tricky to navigate, but the Bluetooth Nanlite app will simplify picking colors and making fast selections like turning the fan on or off. There's no silent option available yet when it comes to fan speed. A few banner selectable features. Selectable color temp from 1800K to 20,000K, HSI mode, RGB mode, and XY mode for color selection. 15 customizable effects like fireworks and welding. Plus and minus green control, so important when you're trying to use lights in an existing environment. I'm seeing continued improvements to the Nanlite app over time after an initial phase where it felt like it was very much in beta testing. The app might work fine for routine work, but for anything complex, you'll want to look into DMX options. Unfortunately, built-in wireless DMX isn't available, so you'll need to use the back DMX port to explore wired options. My guess is that internal wireless DMX would have pushed this fixture out of a certain price point Nanlite was trying to hit. I'm just putting the Forza 60C on the stand, barrel power. This is neat. If you hold the right knob for 3 seconds, it locks your menu settings. You can actually bump something. Kind of love that. HSI mode. I mean, you have a bunch of different effects, some of which require a trigger warning, so I won't go through all of them. Police car, TV, candle. You can set your DMX channels as well. Currently I'm channel 1. You can check your firmware version. You can make your Terrier all sorts of different colors. This is Hugo on a boat. This is Hugo underwater. This is Hugo at the club. And this is Pride Hugo. Yay! One thing to keep in mind with Nanlite fixtures in general is they do keep a constant flow of firmware updates coming for their various fixtures. So keep an eye out for those. In fact, I just updated my 60C2 version 2.01.03 because, well, Nanlite's website said it would, quote, fix the bugs. Hey, you don't need to tell me twice, firmware update complete. One last thing on firmware is I found there actually aren't too many USB sticks that are compatible with firmware updates for the 60C. But I did receive a compatible USB stick with my Nanlite transmitter box, and it worked great. Now we turn to power. You can power the Forza 60C using standard AC power by connecting the barrel into the lamp head. This is the type of fixture that lends itself well to battery operation given the 88-watt draw and the ability to add batteries to an accessory that doubles as a hand grip. Pretty cool. So what about output and Kelvin accuracy? I grabbed a few measurements on my Sekonic C700U to see how accurately the 60C handles color temp measured in Kelvin and output measured in lux from a distance of 3 feet. Here are my readings with a target of 56K and output set to 100%. This test was completed with the kit's 45-degree reflector attached. A reading of 5,492 Kelvin with a target of 56K is excellent and well within a normal operating margin on the lights I've tested. I'd love for more output here, but you can't have everything. And here's a test with a target of 3,200K. Nearly spot on with a reading of 3,194 Kelvin. This is one of the best results I've seen when testing Kelvin accuracy, and the lux levels are also remarkably consistent. And now a test with a target of 4,700K. A reading of 4,593K, also great. The output numbers are very consistent from Kelvin to Kelvin, with a slight output drop in the middle of the range between standard daylight and standard tungsten Kelvin targets, but nothing to worry about in my opinion. Okay, let's talk about those accessories. There's much to like about the Forza 60 softbox, the FL11 Fresnel, and the 19-degree projector. All of them are made from plastic, except for the barn doors that come with the Fresnel and the glass elements within the projector itself. And that actually serves to keep the overall rig lightweight, though perhaps not making these very impervious to damage. The Forza 60 softbox uses the click-and-place mechanism I've become very fond of over the last several years, and it appears that forcing metal rods into an unmovable ring might be a thing of the past. Thank you. Setup is quick and painless, becoming a configuration that content streamers and content creators will appreciate. I found that the FL11 Fresnel does indeed narrow or widen the beam angle, but it's a little prone to light leak at the edges and doesn't quite give you that Fresnel-like look that a larger source will. This is more a function of the size of the Forza 60 cob and less an issue with the Fresnel accessory itself. If you're really looking for a quality Fresnel shadow, then I would suggest looking at just bigger instruments like the Forza 300, the Forza 500, and up. The Forza 60 19-degree projector is incredibly compact and light compared with the bigger projector attachment from Nanlite. I can't stress enough how useful being able to put a tiny splash of light in any part of your image is, and the projector gives you that flexibility without the hassle. This is the attachment you need if you're doing anything related to product photography or video. It's just so darn handy in those scenarios because you can make tiny cuts of light easily. You also get a gobo holder in a variety of non-standard sized, but standard gobos in the sense you get window blinds, leaves, things like that for the price of this accessory. However, because of the output needs of my work in particular, I find myself using the larger projector on larger Nanlite fixtures. Given the relatively affordable price of each of these three accessories, about $500 for all three, if you can swing it, my choice personally would be to purchase them despite any minor quibbles, if only to give you more flexibility out of the fixture as a whole. Of course, if you can't swing the accessories, that's okay. The fixture itself's worth it in my opinion. Okay, now for some final thoughts. If you've read or watched my reviews, you know I'm not a slam dunk fan of adding more and more lights into a kit. I'm always asking what works and for what purpose. Toward that end, if you're starting to build a set of Nanlite Forza 60Cs, you'll want to consider a set or trio at the minimum for your work, in my opinion. Over the course of testing for this review, I found myself building my usual lighting plots, which includes tossing the Forza 60C's soft case in my vehicle or on the G&E truck, and then taking it out in a pinch when I needed it to save me for that moment I didn't consider in my lighting plan. The size and weight, even with the projector attachment, made it an easy light to throw into the mix on shoots along with its larger cousins, and the addition of color just makes it that much more flexible. At the risk of stressing out yet another engineer, I'm very excited to see a Nanlite Forza 300C, 500C, and 1200C come to market at some point. I want to be clear, I have no inside knowledge in this regard. I'm just trying to manifest a few more stellar lighting fixtures with a C at the end of their name. In the meantime, I'll have to live with my small, affordable, and ever versatile Forza 60C. There you have it. That's my review of the Nanlite Forza 60C. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to Rev Studio in San Diego for their help with this review. Go to revstudiosd.com for more info on how to book their beautiful studio space.